Hi, friends. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Hello APGD, a neighborhood podcast about the Audubon Park Garden District in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Michael Lothrop, and my guest today is Alyssa Bolaños of O Eco, a community-minded, earth-friendly gift, goods, and refillery shop located at 1805 East Winter Park Road. Be sure to follow O Eco at O Eco Orlando on Facebook and Instagram, and visit their website at oh-eco.com for rewards, discounts, and other info on classes and special events. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you'd like to be a sponsor, please feel free to message me on Instagram at HelloAPGDPod. Thank you for listening. This episode is brought to you in part by Audubon Park Community Market. Join us every Monday from 5 to 8 p.m., rain or shine, in the parking lot of Stardust Video and Coffee. This weekly gathering of makers, farmers, gardeners, fishmongers, ranchers, artisans, entrepreneurs, neighbors, and friends brings the very best of Central Florida to you every week. Support for this episode also comes from Red Panda Noodle. Made fresh daily, these wheat-based Chinese-style noodles are pulled, sliced, and boiled to order. Find your favorite dish by following them on Facebook and Instagram at Red Panda Noodle. Plus, check out their website, redpandanoodle.com, for the latest in food truck pop-up dates and other news. And with me today is Alyssa Bolaños, O Eco Orlando, Eco Shop and Refillery. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
Hey, thank you for being here. I'm excited for you to be here as well. I was in the shop earlier, and it's just such a lovely space.
Thank you.
What great use of that. It was formerly an art studio, and I believe the Audubon Park Garden District Main Street used it for a time as well. I know that we used the spot right next to it. It has a great history, and it's so cool to see it being used in this way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I love that history that you told me today. I'm a big history buff, and I think that's so cool.
Indeed. I know. I love it. Yeah. And it's cool to kind of get to know, just kind of reaching back to like what the roots were and that sort of thing. And this being an eco district, you are really a perfect fit, your business. So thank you for being here. And so you had moved down here to Florida from New York City.
Correct.
And there was a shop up there that kind of planted the seed, perhaps, right?
Yes.
Gave you inspiration. Tell me about that.
So I was raised in New York, and we had a few eco shops, but there was this one that I would go to all the time. I joke that being raised Cuban American, I was always a little bit sustainable, but it was really when I moved out to Long Island where the shop was, and I had my first child, that I was introduced to this shop and this lifestyle. And I mean, my husband would call me. He's like, "Are you still there?" Like, I would easily spend 2 hours there, and I would talk to the customers, and people were like, "Okay, cool, ring me up." And I'm like, "Oh no, I don't work here. I just love it here. Just hang out there all day." And and that really planted the seed and showed me just different ways to live better, not just for us, because, part of sustainable living is, the cleaner options, stuff that we're putting on our body, but for the future of our planet, for our children, for their children, to leave it better than we left it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the benefits just kind of go on from there. It's like you're supporting local businesses, local producers of these products, and you know that they're made in a responsible way. So we're not damaging the environment further, making sure that we're doing it as best as possible, right?
Right. And like you said too, that whole lifeline, making sure that these workers are getting fair wages for their labor, making sure. I mean, now having the store, I look at the whole life cycle. So I look at, how is a company sourcing? Are they paying fair wages? Are they offsetting their carbon footprint? Or do I have to do it? How does this break down? So there's so much into it, but it's really cool to learn.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that having that experience, being in your shop, talking to you, looking at the products, just the knowledge that you have from your interest. I mean, just being like, fangirl of this shop is like that. I love that backstory. It's the fact that you have this attachment to it, and you're drawn to it in that way. And this is a dream come true, having this like this brick and mortar shop and offering these things to the public, right?
And it's funny because I never thought I would open a store. That wasn't even our intention when we moved to Florida. It happened. And what I loved about the other place and what I really hope to do here is it being a community space. It's like, yeah, we're a store. Yeah, we sell things, but we do clothing swaps and we've done community cleanups, and we just try to do things that will just leave the community better too, or open our space to let people host events or whatever. Just we want to just be part of the community and really bring people together for just love of people and planet.
Yeah, that's so crucial to, I think, every business in the neighborhood. That is part of the focus, right? It's that like partnering with other small businesses here, just finding ways to cross promote, get involved with the community. I love that you're doing classes in there, like that education piece and things that like you can do a class and bring home something that is a gift for somebody, or something nice for yourself, and you learn a skill too, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of passing on that knowledge of how to live a better life, and find the things that make you happy. And one of the things that I picked up are your shower steamers.
Oh, those are amazing.
Yeah, and I couldn't wait. I like went ahead and took a shower when I got home, and it was just like it's kind of the best, just to pamper yourself in that way. And the fact that you're making these products available that otherwise you may not be able to find in town, right?
Yeah, that's kind of how the store happened. Part of it was, I moved down here and I was like, okay, where's my eco shop, right? Like, where's going to be my spot? And there wasn't any place. And there were pop-ups that were selling products like this, but I moved down with an almost 2-year-old and a 3-week-old baby. I'm not going to just bounce around to a market that could be on the other side of Orlando, you know? And then every 2 weeks, and I'm I'm very against Amazon for many reasons, not just the sustainability. I'm very big into local, always local first. And that was kind of part of the motivation to be like, you know what, let's just open a shop and see how it goes.
Yeah, totally. And I love that you make it a little bit more convenient for people. Like you do some deliveries locally.
Yes. A big thing with sustainability too, right? Convenience. And people sometimes see sustainable options as inconvenient, right? Like the reusable paper towels. Oh, you mean I have to wash them? Well, yeah, but you'll always have them, right? Yeah. You won't have to run to the grocery store and spend more money and again and again and again. It just goes on. So I really just want to both educate on the fact that this really is the convenient option and then still make it convenient for people. So, okay, yeah, Amazon can get it to you in 2 days. I'll bring it to you tonight.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm your neighbor, right?
Yeah,
let me
exactly.
just, so we just want it to be easy and convenient for people to make those little swaps when they can.
Yeah, I think that's critical because people are so accustomed to that convenience. And, we try not to use Amazon as much as possible. But, as part of your kind of mission statement, looking at your website, it's like, nobody's expecting you to be zero waste or completely eco-friendly. It's just kind of those small wins, right?
Right. Like I always say, I say I'm sustainable-ish, right?
Sure,
like, yeah, I own a zero waste shop. I'm not 100% zero. There's no way.
No.
I also have 2 toddlers.
Yeah.
If they're going to scream for an applesauce and it's in a plastic pouch, I'm going to give them the applesauce in the pouch, to not have a screaming toddler.
Sure.
It's a balance. And, I don't like the pressure that sometimes comes with sustainability of like, we have to do this all right now. Like, no, we don't.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's not an individual problem, but individually we can help solve it.
Yeah.
So, but, no pressure, basically. No pressure, sustainability, just, you do what you can.
Yeah.
You don't feel guilty for what you can't do.
Right. And leading by example, just kind of showing that there are ways of reducing what we put into a landfill and using what we have, right?
Yeah. I have like all the taglines, right? And like that's one of them. Use what you have, then get what you need.
Yeah.
Just make it sustainable, I have people all the time come in like, oh my gosh, I just found out my laundry detergent has all these toxins and I'm going to throw it down the drain. I'm like, don't do that because that's worse.
Right.
And the fish get it and it's in our waterways and it will still be in our waterways, but use it because it doesn't do anyone a favor by just throwing it away and ending up in a landfill regardless.
Right. Right. And it was produced, so there were the inputs that went into that. And yeah, I mean, there are so many systems with commerce that don't factor in the harm that's done to the environment, and just finding a way to not be part of that and not contributing to that. Like, I think that what you're doing is so important, because you're bringing that to our local marketplace and offering that to people who do care and want to make a difference. And this is a way to do that.
And I think a lot of people care. I just think they don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to help people.
Yeah.
Just start here. Start small. Start with this bamboo toothbrush, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, being in your shop, I was just like, I want every one of these products in my house. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's beautiful stuff. It's well made. You can trust the source. And yeah, it's like little by little, just adding to kind of your routines.
Right.
And knowing that even though you are paying a bit more for this product, everybody in that supply chain, in you know, the process of bringing this to market, is getting compensated the way that they should be. And also it's better for you, right?
It's better for you. It's better for the planet. And a lot of times I give the example of shampoo bars. Shampoo bars can be pricey. It could be $25, $30. And people are like, oh, whoa, that's a lot. But it lasts 9 months.
Yeah.
So you're saving money, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're saving money. So it's kind of changing that mindset too of like, okay, yeah, it seems pricey. But again, everyone in that chain is getting paid what they need to get paid to survive, to live, not just to survive, right? To live.
Right.
And then you're also getting something that's worth your money.
Yeah.
Because it's clean, not toxic, and will last you a while.
And you're actually being budget conscious for yourself
Exactly.
too, right? Yeah.
Exactly. It might be that initial hit.
Sure.
But then you don't need shampoo for a year, you know?
Yeah. I love that. I think at this kind of stage in the economy and just kind of some of the uncertainty in the market in the US and things like that, how we cope, like our happiness levels, finding those little things that are going to make your day better,
Right.
that you look forward to using, and that have that personal touch.
Right.
I think that this is like a quality of life kind of shop, and that it's like a different mindset, right? It's kind of people thinking about these products in a different way.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I like the way you said that.
Thank you.
Quality of life shop.
Yeah. Yeah. And there, there's a lot of focus on self-care, which we should be taking the best care of ourselves that we can, not relying on other people to do that.
Right, right.
I think that it's a great way to start, to just have these personal products, these household products, and find these gifts for other people and gifts to yourself. I think this is a perfect time to be here in Audubon Park. I think you have the audience for it. You have a great selection of products. I mean,
Thank you.
I'd love to talk about kind of some of the products that you offer, and the brands and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Aside from like stuff that we make ourselves, we try to do a Florida first approach.
Yeah.
I try to do Orlando first, truly.
That's great.
And then we branch out there. Everything except I think one item is US based. And all of the companies that we source from are honestly some really big game changers in sustainability. We have like Marley's Monsters, which they're based out in Oregon, and they do so much. They're zero waste. They use all of their scraps to make other products. We have Bell Mountain Naturals, which is a soap company. I think they're in Washington. And they employ victims of domestic violence and give mostly women jobs and shelter and things to progress in their life. And, it's those kind of values that we try to align with when we're finding these big brands.
Yeah.
Another one is Dip. They're one of the shampoo brands that we carry, and they do so much work with conservation and just supporting local. They're so big on supporting local that they're like, don't buy it from us. Go to your local shop and buy whatever you need. And it's just those companies like that we're very proud to have in our shop.
Yeah, it's such a great selection. Just so much stuff. So from the shop in Long Island that you are so familiar with, was there quite a bit of kind of carryover of stuff that you were familiar from there?
Oh yeah, Marley's was a big one. That was probably I think that was one of my first big swaps. That's where I got into unpaper towels, like the cloth paper towels. And big, not in the sense of it being very expensive, but it being a life-changing swap, right? Ditching disposable and mindfully reusing and washing my paper towels to always have.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the companies that we carried over. Friend Sheep, our wool balls, and it's great because I try everything that we bring into the store. But a lot of it is because this was me on my journey in sustainability. And I learned through trying, and I was like, wow, these brands are great. And I'm going to bring them in because they are really amazing brands that care about the planet and care about their customers versus, oh, we're just here to make money.
Right. Yeah. So you have vetted these products, you're familiar, just coming to it with that knowledge, and it's really well curated,
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and I love that you have sustainable clothing, which is something that people I think are thinking more about these days. Just feeling good about how your clothes were made.
Right.
What materials are in there, kind of what's going into the waterways when you wash things, right? It's all part of it. So just being kind of better stewards of the environment and caring for workers in the way that everybody should be cared for.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially fabric and clothing is one of the worst, not only pollutants, but human right violations.
Yeah.
I actually went to DC a few months ago to lobby for this thing called the Fabric Act with my friend Sarah, who owns Florida Fabric Collectives, doing a nonprofit here, and specifically for that to try to get, safety for garment workers, jobs here in the U.S. for them, safer, planet-friendly materials like cotton, hemp, bamboo to be prioritized versus polyester and nylon and all these plastic-filled things. So fashion is a really good place to start, too, for someone in sustainability, right? Shopping secondhand or shopping, new but plant-based kind of materials is an easy way to go when you're trying to be a little more sustainable.
Yeah. And there are not many places locally to find that these days, right? I think maybe it's trending that way, or it should be at least.
It should be.
Yeah. And it's got to start somewhere. So why not in
Right.
Audubon Park, right?
Right. And that's why we do a lot of clothing swaps too. We do about every 3 months or so to also kind of get people to rethink what they wear and how they consume. And, everyone has clothes in their closet that they haven't worn in years or have probably never worn. So doing these clothing swaps not only gets you to meet your neighbors, but, you get to swap and keep it out of landfills. You get to shop for free. It's better than that.
Yeah, seriously.
But it's these kinds of things to help people rethink what is sustainability, what it means to live sustainably, and how people can fit it into their daily lives.
Yeah. So tell me about, how does the clothing swap work as far as, do you get like credits for each thing that you bring, or?
Yeah, so we've learned that we have to limit it.
Sure.
It's the first one we did. We got like people bringing like 5 garbage bags full of clothes, and it was a lot. And then it was like ripped and stained. So we try to limit to 10 to 15 pieces per person. We check everything first, and we found that like a ticket system works a lot of times. So if someone brings in a name brand item, like we had a Coach bag once, okay, that's 5 tickets. So it's still somewhat
Value for value.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I'm bringing designer stuff. Am I going to get?
Yeah, it has to make sense
Exactly.
for people. Yeah,
exactly.
For it to work.
But we don't always limit it. Okay, you have 10 tickets, but you want 12 things, take it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be put to good use, and we're going to keep it out of a landfill.
Right.
And then anything that doesn't get swapped, we save some for a future swap, or we've donated to Out of the Closet and One Woman, One Child as well. So at least we're giving it to organizations that we know will at least put it to better use than Goodwill.
Right.
Any way we can support those missions, we try to.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of opportunity because of places like that, and because people that are behind it, right? And it's changing the landscape of Central Florida in such a positive way. And I think it, with all the national news that Florida gets, people don't see kind of on a more like micro level what is happening here, the good things that people are doing here.
There's a lot of good here. It's so refreshing. And it really fills me with so much joy to see that people actually care about the people in their community. Right. And supporting their community or helping, or, it's just, it is beautiful to see. You don't see that in many cities.
Right.
You don't see that in New York, know? And it's just, it's refreshing. It's a wonderful thing to live in a community like this.
It is. Yeah. I think it's done at a scale where people can still think about those things and thrive. You're not like, rather than competing in similar markets, people find ways of having those strategic partnerships. We have at the Monday night market, we have Goodfills.
Yeah, they're incredible. And people don't always know that we help each other out too. We have gone in on orders. I've bought stuff from them. They've sourced for me. Because at the end of the day, we're all here for the same mission.
Right.
And we want people to live better for themselves, for everyone, for the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jenny and Trong, they're just amazing, and shout out to them.
Yeah, I love that. I figured that there was probably some partnering, even though I didn't know that for sure, but that's so wonderful to hear, because you don't want to feel like you're not supporting one group. You know what I mean? It's like we already know them, and they've been vendors at the market for a very long time. And also, I want to support your shop because you're right in the neighborhood and you're a wonderful person as well. Those partnerships and that buying at, economies of scale and things like that, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like you said, everybody has the same mission when it comes down to it. And if we're all thriving, then we're achieving that mission too.
Exactly. That's all we can ask for. And at the end of the day too, right? Like Goodfills and us, like we have different products,
right?
Too. So it's great. Zero, which unfortunately is closing, but she also had different products. So it's really nice that we all still got to support Orlando as a whole and still support each other in many different ways. So
yeah. So tell me about that shop. Where was that located?
She was on Edgewater. They were all storage units, so she had converted that. There's apparently a plan to turn that into something bigger.
Okay.
So she was there for a few months and is closing. I think this is her last weekend, or next weekend is her last weekend.
Yeah.
So, Goodfills and I were divvying up, her products, trying to support her too, because it hurts when any small business closes.
Right.
But especially one so close to home, right?
Yeah.
That we're all fighting for the same things. So
of course. Yeah. I mean, it can be location, it can be word of mouth. You have to have kind of the time to devote to marketing yourself, right, or, hire somebody to do that. But then that's like extra money that, goes into your overhead. So if you have a talent for it, and I know like Trung and Jenny are great at that as well. Yeah. And your shop is right there. So everybody that comes from Winter Park during the morning commute, and if they're stuck at that light,
they'll see us. Yeah. Well, because it's accessibility.
Right.
I want to be accessible. I want it to be easy for people to get to. Not only also because I don't live there, but I wouldn't put my shop in Millennia because that's not really accessible. I wouldn't go to iDrive because it's not, where we are.
Right.
So I just really wanted it to be accessible and easy for people, and location was part of that.
Yeah.
And parking. Having parking for the shop is a huge factor too.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a good amount of parking in the back.
Yep.
And you've got a few spots up front. Yeah. And I mean, I think people in Audubon Park are getting more accustomed to, if you do have to park at the school on a weekend or, in the evening, you can do that. There's also plenty of street parking. Right. And it's like, if you go anywhere downtown, you're going to park and walk, right? You're not going to park right in front of your
or you're just not going to go because there's
right.
no parking.
Right. And I know that happens too. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's pretty easy to find parking for your shop. Or you can just do a little walking too.
Yeah. Walk, bike.
Yeah. So you're sharing the space actually with another small business.
Yes. So we have my friend Chelly. She owns the Flourishing Spot. Her gorgeous plants, they're just incredible. I met her at a market.
Okay.
Just shopping myself. She's at Lake Eola every Sunday.
Nice.
And she had a shop for a bit. Things didn't work out. And I said, hey, you know what goes good with eco stuff? Plants. Let's just do a little eco jungle. And she's a really great person. Her plants they thrive, and I don't take care of my plants as much as I should, and they're still flourishing.
Wow.
She helps out at the shop too. If I'm not there or my husband's not there, it's most likely her. She's just super knowledgeable about plants too. Like, I'm learning so much with her.
Her stuff is beautiful.
It is.
I was in a Frame Masters gallery, and Christina was telling me about the plant that she got from there, and like she's like, this is like my favorite thing, and everybody notices and comments on this plant because it's just so cool looking and it's so different. And it's just like a hanging plant, and having that extra thing.
Yeah.
Like, we need more green around us.
We do. I mean, it does so much good for our just mental health and our physical health. Having a snake plant in your room helps with your airflow and detoxifying air. So just those little things, it just makes you happy,
Yeah. That extra element, and it just, as you walk into your shop, as you said, it's like this like beautiful like jungle that sort of welcomes you, right? It's cool how you have kind of 3 different phases in your shop as well.
Yeah.
So you've got the plants, and then you've got most of your inventory, but then in the back you've got the refill stations and the clothing.
The clothing, I have to shout out my friend Danielle. That's all curated by her shop, Coutonic. She also used to have a brick and mortar, and now she does a lot of pop-ups. During her life as a small business owner, learned more about sustainability and reworked her business model to only carry sustainable brands or secondhand, and it fits so well. And it's nice to be surrounded by people who they want to do the same things too. They want to be more eco-friendly, and promoting that. And if we could hold space for them in the shop, we will.
Yeah, that's so smart. There is so much of it already, and just finding a way to bring it all together and make it work. And I know you've got ideas like for kind of what the next steps will be. Are there any like ideas that you'd like to share as far as like what's your dream for kind of what's next?
I have a lot of dreams.
Do you?
I'm a dreamer.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I have a big tattoo on my side that says dreamer. I am a dreamer.
Wow.
I mean, if I would love to do something like Bulk Nation, right? Like, and have like a truly bulk food store that is decently priced.
Yes.
Because we have Sprouts and we have Chamberlain's, but it's not that easy to do,
Right.
and there's not a big selection. So that's a dream of mine, be to open a bulk food only store. I have dreams of how the city can do more sustainable minded initiatives. I love the bike lane that we just, got here in Audubon.
Yeah.
I want more.
Yeah.
I want more bike lanes around the city. Like,
I know. We absolutely need that. And with the redesign of Corinne Drive, I know it was very difficult for some of the businesses, and it's hard to know what the answers are as far as like, you don't want to take parking, like street parking,
right.
away from the businesses or anybody really. So figuring out a way to manage that. And, I think the cities, they have really good intentions and they're getting there in ways, but just listening to all parties that are involved and making sure that all thoughts are given to the small businesses.
Right.
That can be a tricky thing. But overall, just making Corinne Drive safer for
Absolutely.
cyclists and pedestrians.
Right. We have our school right here. We want our kids to be able to cross the street safely and not have to worry.
Yes. If there are potentially lives that are being saved by something like that, I think the good can really outweigh the bad when you look at it that way. And those are the kind of changes that, I think that the city is very open to sustainability practices and increasing things that way, which is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the reasons why I loved that we moved here, because there are so many sustainable initiatives happening in the city. For us, even so it's nice to see that the city, no government's perfect, no city's perfect.
Of course.
They're trying.
Yeah.
And that's huge. Trying is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you were talking about some of the brands that are sourced from Pacific Northwest, and they're very, very sustainability minded and have been for so long
Yeah.
too that, we're still catching up with places like that. But,
Baby step,
it's
little
baby
bit
steps,
progress,
right?
right? Not perfection. We're
No,
trying.
progress, not perfection. You have to start somewhere,
Yeah.
right? And there's no better time than now,
I agree 100%. Especially in a place like Florida, like, people don't realize like we're a peninsula.
Yeah.
There's water around us. We have to protect our waterways here. We have so many beautiful natural resources in the state that we have to protect it. And little things like the products you use help protect that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just one more reason to support eco-friendly businesses, right?
I mean, I can't argue with you there.
I know. Yeah, I love it. And I saw, so you've got O-Town Compost.
Yes.
So tell me about how people can get involved with that.
I first of all, I have to say I love O-Town. I
Yeah.
call them my besties because I have limits to my environmentalism and composting. I can't do it. Like,
It's hard.
It's hard.
On your own.
there's
Yeah.
a science and then
Yeah.
the worms, all these different things. And
Sure.
So O-Town makes it convenient.
Yeah.
They do apartment buildings, they do homes, they do businesses, they do it all. And they work with local farms like Everoak over here in Baldwin Park.
Love
and
Everoak.
it just helps support them. And then they give us beautiful produce at our Monday night markets.
Yeah.
So we're partners with O-Town. We sell some of their products, but we also have their subscriptions there. So if people sign up at the shop, they get $10 off their first month,
Nice.
which is not bad.
Yeah.
And they get to walk away with their bucket right away. Versus depending on the route you're on, you might have to wait like a week or whatever. So you can start, making that black gold and then keeping waste out of landfills right away.
Yeah.
And they're incredible. Charlie, who owns O-Town, his passion is so evident, and he's such a good person, and he's doing a lot of really hard work. So that's another small business to support, and he's doing such good work for the world.
Yeah.
Here in Orlando, like there's not many cities that do composting, and I know we tried it here in Orlando for a bit, but things don't always work out. But
Right.
O-Town takes all of that confusion or that inconvenience out of it. You put everything in your bucket, you put it in front of your door, they make it compost, and then twice a year you get free compost.
Yeah.
And then you could buy it, obviously, anytime. So
Right.
then you can plant your own food and or native plants or whatever it may be. And you're just giving back to the earth.
Yeah. And as you said, taking the guesswork out of it, just like, when you're preparing food at home, you're going to have some organic waste that shouldn't be going into landfills
Right.
because of the gases that it produces when it's breaking down there. And also it can be used for making future food. And we have to think about our soil, and this is such an important piece of that process. So yeah, that's so cool that you also host that as a way to get involved.
I mean, I love the work that they're doing. I think it's important.
Mm-hmm.
I learned so much about what you can cut. Like you can compost like your nails or like your hair and napkins. And the other good thing I like about them is you can compost meat and bones, where if you have your home backyard compost, you can't, because critters will be on that in a second.
Absolutely.
So it's just helping divert more waste. And they're doing the good work here.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I know that they've expanded quite a bit too. So if you are only familiar with kind of the older version, like definitely check them out again.
Yes.
There's a lot that can be done at this point.
And we have a really great informative banner in our store about the work that they do and why it's necessary. So if you ever have questions,
Yeah.
come look at that.
Cool. That's just one more way to get involved. So I love that you make it so easy,
We're trying. We're just that's it has to be
Yeah.
easy for people to try to do it. So
Right.
if we can make eco easy, then we're doing our job.
Totally.
And I have to say, this is my whole aesthetic. Just mason jars.
Oh,
This
yes. Mhm.
I live for mason jar cups. Like we take a lot of donations at the shop for jars. Another factor of the accessibility. One, because recycling doesn't work like we wish it would work.
Right. Yeah, glass especially. It's like that just gets basically broken and ground up into sand,
Yep.
which defeats the purpose, right?
Because glass is endlessly reusable,
It's
as
a
is
finished,
aluminum.
yeah, it's a finished product, right? Yeah.
So we take jars of any and all size. I even take plastic. We take anything as long as it has a lid. But sometimes the good ones stay with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like my husband, he'll wash and we sanitize and everything, and then he'll give me the bin and I'll bring it to the store to unload. And I remember finding these tall, skinny mason jars. I was like, I called them up. I was like, how dare you? How dare you give this up? It is my favorite cup now. But I'm like, how you can't? It's a good jar, you know.
That green one, we only have one of them, and I always give it to our guests because it's so nice. I like it so much. So
I feel honored.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, I love that you have the collection of jars there in your shop too. You've just got shelves of different size jars, so those don't add any cost to, if somebody doesn't bring their own jar, they have access to that, and people drop off and donate. So that's like another way of getting involved, right?
Yeah. We take them all, even though sometimes my husband might want to divorce me because of all the jars. There's so many jars. I will never stop taking jars because what's the other option? They're going to get thrown away. They're going to end up in a landfill or broken or whatever it may be. So I'm just like, no, can't let that happen.
And they'll all get used eventually, right? That's the thing. It's a finished product, and they're ready to use.
And it's always fun when we get like tequila bottles or like the little apple juice ones, or we get some cool jars sometimes. So it's funny to see people refill in like bottles you wouldn't think would be hand soap, right? Or laundry detergent.
And that could make for a fun gift too, right? If you have it, just don't mix that up and put it on your tequila shelf.
Right, yeah, don't take a shot of laundry detergent.
I mean, you'll know pretty quickly. So, yeah. I love that. What other ways can people either donate or get involved aside from shopping?
Well, the jar donations, we have a little free library in store too.
Nice.
The events that we do, always staying posted to that. We love our friends over at Ideas for Us and our friends at Fleet Farming, so we always try to support them. So even if we don't have anything going on, supporting them is still supporting our mission.
Yeah.
They are incredible people behind the organizations, and they're just doing such good work here.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have them local here, and the work that they've accomplished so far, and the growth that we've seen since they've started, it has been amazing to watch that.
I love it so much. I was biking the other day. I was going to the 70th anniversary.
Oh yeah.
And my friend Dawson from Fleet Farming was just in the garden. I was like, oh hey, like I love it. I just love seeing that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we're not religious people, but Covenant Church in Audubon Park, the pastor, Sarah Robinson, she was a guest on the podcast. She is just so community-minded and just so magnetic. She's so busy and so involved with so many things, and all of them are wonderful. Those are the kind of people that you get to know, and you just want to support, like whatever they're doing. You want to get involved.
Absolutely. I love it. It's like you said, it's magnetic. You get a little bit of it, and then it inspires you to kind of want to do something too. So just like to keep surrounding, to keep having these people in our community and supporting them and surrounding ourselves with them, we'll just all be better humans for it.
Right? I know. I mean, isn't that should always be part of the goal in life? And they say vote with your dollar, which is such a true thing. And it might take a little extra effort. You might not be able to click a button, although you've got online stuff that you can absolutely do that. And so you're not giving any of the convenience up, but you can still do these things that are improvements to your own life and improvements to your environment.
Right. That's why I love Audubon so much too, because, Target's a mile down the road, but you see people here in the community,
Yes, absolutely.
And I love that. No shade to Target, but, they don't need our money.
They do not. Nope.
But all of our small businesses here do.
Right.
And, supporting any small business, you're supporting a family directly. You're supporting your neighbor directly. Like, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want their neighbors to do better? And their neighbors want their community do better. That's why they built this business. So it's just a beautiful chain reaction when we could support local.
Yeah. Chain reaction without supporting chains, right?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah. That's ironic.
And I mean, just like it's such good people that are the shop owners here in Audubon Park too. And like I love doing this podcast for that reason as well, is just getting to know the people behind these businesses and what their motivation is, and kind of what, like, brick and mortars aren't as common as they used to be, because you're competing with these box stores, you're competing with Amazon and other things like that, but it's not impossible to make it work.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of effort. And I think people don't always understand. I didn't, because like I said, I never thought I was going to open a store. It was not my plan at all.
Yeah.
So I definitely underestimated how hard and how much it would consume my life.
Sure.
But people don't know that effort, but we put in that effort, and then we love, like, I love my customers. I love knowing people by name and knowing, oh, I have your laundry soda for you, or I have I love that. And it's a lot of hard work, but a lot of love behind it.
Mm-hmm. That's what keeps you coming back to it, and keeps your customers coming back to it, right? Yeah. Because that we need more love in our lives.
We do.
And it's not going to come from Amazon. Trust me.
No.
You will not find it there.
You will not. I mean, like, whenever I get online orders, I do a little happy dance and I do a handwritten note, and it's like, Amazon doesn't love you enough to write you a note, No,
that's really
I do.
True. Yeah.
I love you enough to do that. So it's different, but it's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like the relationship that you gain by shopping local and knowing these business owners here, and keeping those things going, because it requires shoppers in order to keep the doors open, and just being realistic about that and how to get traffic in, what if there's like subscription things or things like that, whatever it is that you find, add it to your budget. Like, we can all afford to, like, be more responsible with how we spend money. And I think that this is a perfect example of that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's why I always try. I try really hard with the store to make sure that I have everything that people need. Right? Like, you need toothpaste, I got it.
Yeah,
Come
totally.
shop here.
Yeah.
But I also have gifts, and we have like everything you could think of. So I really try to have that so people can. Oh, I know I can get my goods here. I know I can, I don't need to go to Target. Okay, Target may sell the same brand as me, but you don't know who's
Yeah.
But you know me.
Right. And you might be able to get, like, most or all of your Christmas shopping done at your shop.
I think that's a really good point. You
It's
probably can.
Yeah. Between clothes, between stuff for kids. Yeah. I love that you have, like, books and toys and really cool kid stuff.
We also have prenatal and postpartum items as well, because that was something that when I was pregnant, it was impossible to find in stores. I could not find any of these things in stores. The brands that I carry are brands that I've used when I was pregnant and postpartum, and it's right there. It's not on Amazon or the website. And actually, a lot of the brands we carry are not on Amazon because the values just don't line up.
Yeah.
So we have it there, and it's easy to get to. There's brands like Nopalera and Axiology that are body care brands that are basically only online. We have it, We just try to make it easy. Loaiza is another one. We have like adobo and sazon and sofrito, and you can't really find that in a lot of places. You can find it here,
Yeah.
Just try.
That's so special. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the way to success, to have things that aren't found anywhere else, that you can either order it online or you can be there in person and get it from somebody who has used those products, right, is familiar with it.
And like, even just seeing it, like, I don't want to order it online. I want to see it. I want to interact, to smell it, touch it, see what it's about. And if I really did need it or want it, or whatever it may be, that's another reason, right, for the brick and mortar, right? We could have just been online. We could have just been a pop-up, but I'm an instant gratification person, right?
Yeah.
Which probably doesn't really line up with sustainability. But if I want this and I'm hyper fixating on it, like, I want to go see it now.
Yeah.
So, that's why we open. We're like, all right, we're here. We're here for you. Come see, touch, smell, feel, whatever you got to do.
I think it's almost like a new, almost like novelty thing, even especially to like younger audiences who are so used to online shopping, like to actually go into a really cool store and see all this stuff and get to put your hands on it. I think that is always going to have that appeal. More and more people just want that tangible experience. They want to be in a shop, and especially when it's cool people behind it,
And then again, not to have to wait 3 to 5 business days for delivery, and then all those carbon emissions and all that unnecessary, waste that comes into packaging and shipping stuff. So.
Yeah. I mean, I got to use my shower steamer the very afternoon that I got it, right?
I love it. Oh, those are my favorite things.
I'm so glad that you are not out of them, because I know that it's hard to keep those in stock.
We sell out a lot.
Yeah.
But we are working hard. We just kind of upgraded our system at home to hopefully churn them out a little bit faster.
Cool.
Like we haven't had them prepackaged in a while because of that, because they're just, we couldn't keep up.
No, why? Yeah, exactly. Like cut out that extra step, right? So what other products are you making in-house?
So we do the shower steamers, our toilet bombs, which are the toilet cleaners, the unpaper towels. We have like bath soak. I've been trying to work on lotion. That is harder than I thought. Very hard.
What is it about it that it's difficult? Is it consistency or?
Well, yeah, like it's a science, right? There's exact, measurements you have to do. And with something like lotion or soap, you have to be careful how you add things.
Okay.
And
it's like the timing.
Yeah. I give it up to everyone who does lotion, because that's actually what started my making things. I was like, I'm going to make lotion and we're going to do this. And I've made everything else but lotion. We make soap now. We have soap bars, but it's just like everything except the lotion. The one thing I set out to do, I've not done.
I mean, it's on your vision board. It's aspirational, right?
I'm trying. But it's hard. I also have 2 kids at home.
Sure.
It's just like my husband and I trying to do all the things. And honestly, sometimes there's days that we're just so tired. And I got to go to sleep.
I believe it. Yeah. It's just owning something rather than working for somebody else is a whole different kind of stress.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to be an employer to people, because you can't be there all the time too. So finding, the right partners or the right staff to support. Right.
It's hard and it's scary. It's like my 3rd baby, just to hand it off to someone. And it's we've had waves of, people working with us, and testing people out. And we have one girl, Hannah, she's been with us almost since the beginning, and she is incredible. She's the sweetest person, and she's the most helpful person. But it's hard, and it's like I want to be there all the time, but also I have to be with my kids. So it's a balance. I'm learning how to balance.
It's hard to find somebody that treats it not just as a job too, right?
Right.
Like it's not just clocking in and going through the motions and getting a paycheck. It's like it's a way of life that you have to believe in and support.
Especially a store like ours. It's so niche that like you kind of have to want to be curious about it at least and learn. Like I've never not wanted to hire someone because they're not sustainable. It's that curiosity that I want, right? It's if you care enough to learn that I like to see, and because that was me. Yeah. Right? We all start there. But it's hard. It's hard. And I love the shop so much that I really do want to be there all the time.
I bet. I mean, that's such a cool thing. Like something that you actually look forward to doing, and just getting to know the customer. So you started with an online shop, right? And then your first brick and mortar was in Ivanhoe Row. So that's off of Orange Avenue, like near Lake Ivanhoe.
Yep, right across the street. It was the most beautiful view.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what sold me on the location, was that view. That I was like, oh my gosh, I could eat lunch and look at the lake, and I'm just right by nature, and who wouldn't want that?
Right. And such cool buildings there on the street. So how long were you in that space?
We were there about a year.
Okay.
About a year. And it quickly became too small. When we first saw the place, it was larger. It used to be Gentry's Barbecue. And the landlord took half of it for the next door business, which was his wife's, and that cut a lot, and we were like, oh, it's fine. We're just starting out. And we're like, oh, no, we need more space. And we did so many events that we just couldn't handle it in the shop. I mean, I think it was like 700 square feet or something like that. It was very small.
Wow.
And it just, the parking, there was no parking there. So it was many factors that we were like, okay, I think we might have to look at what we're doing here, you know?
Sure.
And I'm so grateful that we found this location, because we knew it would be a perfect fit. I mean, my husband and I are here all the time. We're always at East End, always at Gideon's.
Yes.
Farm and House is one of my favorite things, you know, so we were just always in the neighborhood, and we're like, all right, it makes sense to be where we love.
Yeah, and I mean, you fit right in here. You've got some Orlando-themed gifts and things too. I love seeing that.
We carry a lot of local Orlando makers. We have like Sandhill Supply, Chill Artistry. We have this really cool print by Stephen Maddow. I don't know if you've ever seen his like rocket photography, but he has, it's over the Orlando Exploria Stadium, and you just see the Orlando with the rocket. And it's actually, fun fact, it's printed on agave paper using solar powered. And even the protective film is plant-based, so it's compostable. It's that little, you know, those attention to detail and that care that, you know, that was a fangirl moment too. And it's like, hey, yeah, you want to put my stuff? I was like, oh my gosh, yes.
That's so cool.
But I love, again, because I want to be community space. And if I can hold the space for local makers and artists to be able to showcase their work, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when they are so like-minded and doing things responsibly. Yeah, I've never heard of somebody doing that with photography, with art that way.
So
like,
cool.
It's really cool.
So cool.
Yeah,
it's a great Christmas gift. Wink, wink.
Indeed. And there's a lot of events that are happening in the next couple of months in Audubon Park. So the Shop Small Saturday, which happens after Black Friday, and that's when we should really be getting all of our shopping done, right? You can just go from shop to shop here. You don't necessarily need to drive if you live locally, and just stock up on everything that you need, right?
Don't be like me. I'm a procrastinator, and it's like December 23rd, and I'm like, oh no. Take advantage of Small Business Saturday. Your small businesses will thank you for it.
Indeed. I mean, that's how we have the community that we have here too, right? It's very, very unique. We are almost entirely independent businesses in Audubon Park, and you just don't find many neighborhoods that have that.
I always say that Audubon is the most magical neighborhood here, right? We're in Disney's backyard, right? The most magical place, but Audubon is where the magic is because of that. And you don't find that in many places. And we have great neighborhoods, right? Ivanhoe has great stuff. Mills has a lot of great stuff. Like, we have great neighborhoods here, but there's just no one does it like Audubon.
It's really special.
Really is.
I'm so glad you feel that way. We definitely feel that way as well. And I know you're living in Longwood, you were saying, and you're working on making it over to this side of town.
Trying our hardest, yeah. We actually moved here sight unseen. We did not see our house.
Oh, wow.
Saw it online, and we had a realtor down here, but we had moved out to Long Island first, which is the suburbs of New York, and then COVID happened. And my grandmother has Parkinson's dementia, and we ended up being an hour away during COVID, and that's when she started to decline. So we're like, you know what? She needs to be here. We have basically all my family's here. I joke, you know, we're Cuban. We just swam to Florida, and then we just like expanded. So, you know, we wanted to give her a better quality of life, for my young kids a better quality of life. I don't like the snow. So we moved there just because it had the space that we needed without really knowing. And Longwood's a great area, but we're here all the time. You know, my son goes to school here. You know, we're just always here. So we're hoping to make that move soon.
Yeah. Well, any way we can help, let us know for sure. We know some people here too, so that can be helpful always.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're starting the process now, but you know, it's a process.
Of course. Yeah. And you've got a lot on your plate already, so
I know.
Thinking about moving and looking for a place. It'll happen when it needs to happen.
Yeah.
Probably after the holidays, right?
I'm just, doing everyone's favorite pastime of just going on Zillow and looking up all the houses and just dreaming
Yes.
what it could be.
I know. It's hard to even like wrap your head around what things cost right now too. It's like these prices are artificially inflated, and there's going to be a correction at some point, I'm sure, and you want to be on the right side of that, of course. And
I mean, even when we moved down here, because we moved when the whole wave of Northerners were coming down, I was like, oh gosh, I'm one of them. But it was insane when we moved here. That's why we had to do the house sight unseen. We're just like, yeah, this one. It worked because things were being snatched up left and right.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And then I was pregnant when we were doing that, and we were looking at all that stuff. I was 3 weeks postpartum when we moved, and I actually ended up in the hospital for a month. Right when we moved, a week after we moved here, I ended up in the hospital with sepsis after giving birth. So that was fun.
Yeah.
So it was like all that move, all that stuff, all at once. I was like, yeah. So I'm not looking forward to even. It's like some PTSD with the moving, but
for sure.
I just want to get done and be settled.
That's so many like changes and difficult things to deal with in one time, when like all you want to be is with your baby at that point, right? And you probably could not.
It was very hard. That's actually, that was the biggest motivator for opening the store, because I almost died giving birth to my second. I had hemorrhage. I had 5 blood transfusions. I ended up with sepsis again after that. And I was working for a major bank, and I was on disability, and they fired me while on disability. And I was like, okay, this can't be life. Like, I gave so much of my time, my life to this company for 5 years to just be thrown at my lowest point.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I want to do something good. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to just make a positive impact and be able to be with my kids and also show my kids, right? Like, this is what we can do with our lives. So that was really why we were just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's open the store. Orlando doesn't have it. Let's be the ones to do it.
Yeah. Wow. That's such an inspiring story. When you realize that, I mean, especially these large corporations, that there's no reason that they need to mistreat people in that way, and yet they get away with it just left and right. And then you realize, like, oh, if we're doing things on a micro level, we know how people are being treated, and that's something that we can support and something we can get behind and should be. Like, don't put your money where people are being awful and you know it.
Yeah. There's a lot of those places.
There's so many of those places, and we, like, a lot of people don't want to think about those things, but not thinking about it doesn't change it.
Right.
It's the change happens with what we actually do and who we support and where we shop, where we go. Like, these are all things that will help alleviate some of that hurt that happens in the world.
Yeah.
And anytime we can get closer to repairing those things and being better, especially being a good example for your children, like, that's such a noble thing. Like, that's such an important, like, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful to see, like, with my kids too, because, like, I see how much they're learning in this process. Like, we've made so many connections, like O-Town compost, and now my 4-year-old's like, no, mommy, this goes in the green bin. Like, he goes in the compost, and like he doesn't know compost, like the word, but he knows the action. He knows, that bees are good for our plants, and it gives us all these flowers and all this stuff. Like, he knows these things, and it's not me outright telling him. I notice it's him watching what we're doing and being in the store and coming to the event, doing all these things, and I'm just like, wow, okay, like, yeah, this is why I do it.
Wow.
This is this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you know that you're already on your way to raising 2 good people the best way that you know how.
Isn't perfect, but yeah.
Of course.
We try.
Yeah, I mean, all we can do is try.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as perfection.
No such thing. None. That's why I always say progress over perfection.
That's such a great motto. Don't feel defeated because you're not perfect either. Are you making progress?
That's all we have to do. We have to try. Like you said, we just got to try.
Just got to try. Yeah, it's not that hard. Well, I I'm so excited about what you're doing. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. The website that people go to find you and the socials?
So the website is oh-eco.com. Our social is OECO, OHECO Orlando. We're right here in Audubon Park,
Yes.
right on Winter Park Road. And just, I just say hi, right? You don't have to, you don't want to shop or you can't shop, just come say hi.
Yeah, you're gonna want to buy everything when you first go in there, and you gotta rein it in. You can't just do that.
I mean,
but
you could. If
you could, yeah. Don't be shy about it. Anything is possible. But yeah, I think just finding the little things that you can focus on, just changing one thing about your life, and think about what that is, and where to start.
And I'm always here to help. I always say, our DMs are always open. I handle everything. I'm the one on Instagram. So anytime people have any question about anything, it doesn't have to be eco-related, just sustainability, whatever. Just shoot me a message. I'm always happy to talk to people.
That's so cool. And people can bring their own containers
Yep.
to refill.
Bring their own containers, grab one of the free ones we have. We also, we sell ones too, but I don't even try to do that because there's so many jars in the world.
Yes.
But yeah, we try to have everything that you need. Hand soap, dish soap. We have 6 laundry options, different body washes, cleaning supplies, shampoo, shower steamers, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to have what people need.
Yeah. You make such good use of the space. And as you said, shelves are going to be going in. So there'll be even more inventory there soon. And it's a lovely shop. I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much. That means so much. You have no idea. It means so much to me. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome to the community.
Thank you.
Indeed.
We feel very, very welcomed. We're very grateful to be here.
I'm so glad to hear that. All right. Well, we'll see you around the neighborhood.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Hello APGD, a neighborhood podcast, is brought to you in part by Stardust Video and Coffee, Audubon Park's beloved neighborhood cafe, bakery, bar, and meeting place, located at 1842 East Winter Park Road. Our theme song is by Christopher Pierce, and special thanks to Trey Hester for all his help in making this podcast a reality. We do hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, please click subscribe and leave a review if you'd like. We'll see you next time.